Hey guys, I'm sorry it's taking so long to get these videos uploaded, but I'll probably put on two or three um, more, and then our final one. So I hope everybody's doing great. It's our last cycle here, so we'll get it knocked out and be done for the summer. Hopefully, we see you guys at the beginning of next year. Hopefully, this is all over. But anyway, starting the Vietnam War. The background of the war, France had controlled Vietnam. They controlled Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, parts of Thailand. It was all part of a thing called French Indochina. And after World War One, Vietnam wanted their independence, but France wanted their colonies back, and so the United States kind of decided to let them have it back, and that's going to create some problems. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Japan will take control during World War II. With U.S. aid, France attempted to recolonize Vietnam and French Indochina after the post-war period, but they weren't very lucky doing so. Now, there will be a guy by the name of Ho Chi Minh, and he was a communist leader. In 1918, after the end of World War I, a young Ho Chi Minh will come to the Palace of Versailles when they were creating the Treaty of Versailles, and he asked President Woodrow Wilson to help Vietnam become an independent nation. And since France had been a big ally to the U.S. during World War I, we didn't really want to step on any toes. So we tell him no, that we're not going to help him out. Ho Chi Minh gets really upset with that. He kind of travels around Europe, and he goes to the Soviet Union, and he learns how to be a communist. He takes that back with him to Vietnam and creates the Vietnamese Communist Party. Eventually, he nationalizes and gets a bunch of Vietnamese to kind of join in with him. He called them the Viet Minh. And they will overthrow the French forces in 1954 at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. President Eisenhower declines to really intervene on behalf of France, and Vietnam will become its own nation. Now, this presents a problem, though, because with it being a communist nation, the United States doesn't want communism really to spread, so they have a conference at Geneva, Switzerland. And they decide that, hey, they're going to divide Vietnam at the 17th parallel. They're going to break it into two countries. Ho Chi Minh and the communists will control the north, and a guy by the name of Diem, which is a French-educated Roman Catholic, will control the south. And they set a time to have elections to decide whether they were going to be communist or they were going to be a democratic south or a democratic nation, which was the south. Diem will back out of the elections because he realizes that he will be defeated. He wasn't very nice to his people, and a lot of people really dislike him. Actually, the United States, under President JFK, will send in the CIA to assassinate Diem and his brother because he was so cruel to his people. But he backs out, and it leads into a conflict between North and South Vietnam. Now, U.S. military involvement will begin. A repressive dictatorial rule by Diem. Diem's family holds all power. Wealth was hoarded by the elite. The Buddhist majority were persecuted, and there was torture and lack of political freedom. The United States will aid Diem's government. President Eisenhower sent financial and military aid there. By 1960, there's 675 U.S. Army advisors to help South Vietnam's forces. Here's one of the things. Before the mid-1960s, and South Vietnam had a lot of rubber trees, and the Michelin Rubber Company controlled a lot of those rubber trees. And so they really pressured the U.S. government to send in and help preserve their control of their rubber trees. Eventually, by the mid-1960s, when we're really at war with Vietnam, they created synthetic rubber, and those trees were obsolete. But that's kind of one of the reasons we get involved. Now, the U.S. military involvement really begins when Kennedy's elected. He increases military advisors to 16,000 people. In 1963, JFK supports a Vietnamese military coup d'etat, or overthrow of Diem and his brother. This is when they are murdered. Kennedy is assassinated just a few weeks later on November 22nd. That doesn't have anything to do with the overthrow of Diem, but it's kind of ironic that he was assassinated 3 weeks later. After Kennedy is assassinated, President Johnson comes in. He remembers Truman's loss of China, and he doesn't want the domino theory to affect, where China fell, then North Korea fell to communism, and then now they don't want Vietnam falling, and then it'll spread to Cambodia, Laos, and then eventually all the way over to the United States. So, to prevent this domino theory, Johnson sends in several thousand troops. And with the Tonga Gulf incident in 1964, the U.S. had a battleship in the Gulf of Tonkin, and it was attacked by North Vietnamese forces. Congress pretty much issues a blank check to President Johnson saying he can send as many troops over as he wants to, and that's when the escalation of troops will be sent to Vietnam. You can look at the chart and see in 1961 we had less than 100,000. By 1968 we had over 500,000 troops fighting in Vietnam, helping the South Vietnamese fight the North Viet Cong. Now, the problems with Vietnam, there were no territorial goals. It's going to be the first living room war where we have television over there reporting, like videotaping and recording everything that was going on, and the body counts of how many people were dying every day. It's going to be the first living room war. And then there were guerrilla forces that were shipping supplies over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which was this trail that constantly changed going through the jungle of Vietnam and like Laos and Cambodia. The Viet Cong are going to be the rebels by day and the or normal people by day, rebels by night, the guerrilla fighters. At first, we start really bombing North Vietnam in Operation Rolling Thunder. 1966 to 1968, an ongoing bombing of their capital of Hanoi was nonstop for 3 years. And we also bombed targets on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. It leads to a lot of downed pilots and prisoners of war, or POWs, sent to the famous Hanoi Hilton, where they tortured our downed pilots and so forth. We also will practice carpet bombing with a new incendiary bomb called napalm, where we dropped on it and tried to burn it, all of the foliage and things like that. All right, guys, I'm out of time for today. We will pick back up. I will put on another video tomorrow. We'll start with the Viet Cong and move on through there. Hope everybody's doing great. We will talk to y'all later. Take care.